Today I'm comparing 4 different of the top brands of Eink tablet here. I've got the Remarkable, representing Remarkable, it's the only one they make. I've got the Kindle Scribe, representing all the Kindle range. Really, if we're talking about note-taking Eink tablets, this is the choice with Kindle. And then the Tab Ultra, representing the full range of Boox devices, including smaller ones and including larger ones. This has got my script on it today, the Boox Tab X, what a device. And of course the Supernote, a lot of people's favorite device for a lot of good reasons. And I'm going to talk about note-taking on them today, rather than focus on everything they can do. I'm just going to talk about which one do I prefer for taking notes. I hope this will help you make a really confident choice, and that when you do choose an Eink tablet, you can be sure that you're going to get an excellent experience, because you will. Let's start over here on the Supernote. Now the Supernote handwriting does look absolutely fabulous. You can see writing at normal size, it really does look like an ordinary pen on some paper. And the Remarkable looks fantastic as well. I'm trying my best to use their own pens, because I have found out that actually there is a difference in the pressure level of each device. I really do like the Remarkable pen tools. The ballpoint pen being my favourite of the different pen tools that you get in Remarkable. But you can make your handwriting look absolutely great on all of these. But really, the Kindle is the sleeper of the bunch here, because the Kindle has the 300 dot per inch screen. And with the new pen tools, then you've now got more options about making your handwriting look great. I probably think for writing, it's still the pen is the implement of choice. But there is very little pressure sensitivity, if at all, with this pen. The marker has more pressure sensitivity. That might look a little bit more of how you're used to seeing your script with an ordinary pen. Because if you're buying something to replace a notepad, then you probably quite like the way your notes look. And that is something important to consider. The Scribe does look really crisp because of that extra few dots per inch. And you can see even around the curves, at this really quite close distance, you don't see much in the way of pixelation at all. But I wouldn't worry too much about that screen resolution, because for all of them they're big enough such that you tend to be a large enough distance away from the screen that you don't really notice that pixelation in normal use. They all have enough screen resolution. The Boox pen tools are not the best of the bunch, but they are good enough. You do get enough customization, and what I like about it is you can save 5 of your favorite pen tools to the top. I normally write with the fountain pen, and I normally draw with the pencil, and sometimes use the brush for things like inking. So it does have that nice pressure sensitivity, and it does look good on the page. The Supernote pen tools are fine, but there isn't much customization. There's either one that doesn't have pressure sensitivity, one that does, and then a highlighter. So there isn't a vast amount of customization there. The Scribe tools, although they've added some, there isn't that much that's amazing for writing. I'm personally not going to really enjoy using the calligraphic nib, because it doesn't feel right just for scribbles for me. It doesn't feel right just for notes for me. Calligraphy is something that I used to be a bit into when I was a lot younger, but it's something that if you wanted to write up fine hand, if you wanted to make your writing look really, really good, then you could get into that. But it's not just for general note-taking, in my opinion. The best single pen to actually write with on a daily basis across the whole bunch, I would suggest, is probably the Remarkable ballpoint pen. I do quite like the Remarkable ballpoint pen. It's just got enough pressure sensitivity, enough of a sort of pattern to its stroke to make it a pleasure to use and to make your handwriting look really quite nice. All of these devices have enough options with the pen tools to be enough for making your notes. And all of them do have great accuracy and responsiveness, because they're all Wacom technology used well. They do have different feels, from the Remarkable, which is more like a pencil and paper feel, through to the Scribe, and the Boox devices, which tend to be more like a felt tip and paper feel, bearing in mind that the Tab lineup have a more slippery surface, and the Note lineup and the Nova lineup, etc., have a more paper-like textured surface, through to the Supernote, which does actually have a pen and paper type feel. Which one of those you're going to like really just comes down to personal preference, to be honest. And there you are, you can get all of them on one screen, which is going to make it easier not to have to move things around quite so much. For things like tags and table of contents, well, the Supernote is the winner of this category, there's no doubt about it. Where you can organise and make different titles and keywords and tags within a notebook is excellent. This can become a title, it can become a keyword, which is automatically recognised, or you can edit, and it can also become a link to a different part of a document. Organising your documents here on the Supernote is fantastic. You can also add star marks, which become to-do lists, essentially, in your table of contents here. So if you just take the time to actually organise your notebooks with these things, it can become a really useful feature. And also you can make use of the real-time recognition here, such that everything is typed text in the background. I really love this feature. I think that the other devices will probably copy this feature in the future. And that now means that you can search through the entire of the script. And you can find any word you want because it's automatically turned the handwriting into text throughout the whole document. And that's bearing in mind that you're presuming it's done it accurately, which it is quite reliable, but you will probably have to go in and change some things if you want to export that to actual usable document. More on that though when I compare these for writing rather than just for notes. You can link out to other documents or pages within this document or notebooks. It's fabulous, and because they're all seamlessly implemented in this device, it's a really nicely thought through use. The Boox does have these types of features. For instance, once again, you can search through the entirety of the document. You can search through all of your scribbles. It will actually recognize that. It does it quite quickly. You can actually search through the entirety of your notebook library, but that might take some time. You can see which level you want it to search at. Because now when I hit search, it's going to have to go and convert every single page in every single notebook, which, by the way, once it's done a notebook once, it doesn't have to do that again. The newer notebooks it'll have to do now, and then it will go ahead and go quite quickly through the ones it's done before. Off it goes. And again, you can add all of those things as well, but they're kind of buried in the plethora of other features that you can do. On this though, you can even add links to web pages, which is rather nice because you can of course view web pages here in the browser. You can insert audio notes, you can insert images and links and so much more. It's all there in the note-taking apps. You probably won't use all of it, however. Remarkable has tags now, but that's about it. So you can tag somewhere on a page, you can tag a document. You can then move around by searching through the tags. I have got some tags, I don't know why it's... And they are bringing out lots of updates to allow you to move your notes and take focus notes anywhere. I do like the way this is going in terms of being able to use typed text here on the device, in terms of being able to use it on your mobile phone, on your computer, and have them all linked up together. So there we are, you can cut and paste things just like an ordinary text editor. It's nice to improve the zoom as well. It looks like they're going to release a type folio, which would be a really interesting thing to see for this device as well. I think though, even with the tags function, I think that I'm still going to be relying on using the page index with some really bold titles on different pages so I can sort of see my way around and really recognizing what's on the page, just like flipping through an ordinary notebook. I don't think that they've gone far enough in terms of the search and the table of contents type of features of this device to enable you to get around really easily, but commit to using the tags and that'll be useful. On the Kindle Scribe though, I think that you're still going to be stuck in actually making a bit of a contents page. So what I would suggest you do to get your way around notebooks is to make page 1 a contents page, and actually every time you make a note, but to actually put the page number here. And then to actually just use the jump to page navigation that they've added. To jump to the contents page, see which page number you need to go to, and then jump to that page. That's the way I would be working a table of contents to get around notebooks here. Essentially using it just like a bullet journal. So organizing it in the same way with page numbers, contents pages, migrations, but knowing that you've got an infinity of pages essentially in any notebook. There's nothing wrong with doing it in that old school way, but you know what? It misses out a bit of a trick of it being a digital notebook. So for search and navigation, there's no way to actually search the whole of the notes. It really is going to rely on you doing it manually, writing a contents page and moving about using that page navigation or swipe. I hope in time that they'll add a page overview, which would be far better. If you could call up, like press this down here maybe, just to get rid of it. Maybe long press it then. But to actually call up a kind of overview, just like it has on the Remarkable, of all the pages in the notebook, that'd be really useful. You can see, if you want to search all the handwriting, it's possible here on the Boox, but it's going to take a little bit of time. So you can use tags, as I've said, on the Remarkable, but I don't think there's a way to search through all of your typed text. Let's go and have a look at a document with typed text in it. If I search, yeah, it's just finding the file from the file names. So there you are, you better name them well. You can search tags, I'm sure. But it's nice to see that Remarkable are improving the sort of typed text recognition, and they've always had these pogo pins that have never been used until I think something's coming very soon to make use of those pogo pins, and actually a keyboard folio, which I will buy, and I'll bring you a review of that. Supernote has the digest function and also the quick access panel, which is a really useful way to get around, to navigate around the document here. What you can draw is these little parentheses to actually make a note that goes into the digest. But I really quite like the quick access panel, so you can quickly get back to those important documents that you're working on. But the Boox platform is going good places too. I'm gonna stop this, despite the obvious length of time. But if you needed to find something in your notes that way and search through the whole thing, then it would do a job of it. It would actually do the job of it. The Boox platform is going good places with its widgets. In terms of navigating around, you've got your recent notes here, you've got your library widget there, and also you have this memo widget down here, which is linked to your calendar. So in your calendar, you can actually make memos which will appear on that date. So that's today. Here it is. So there's loads of useful integrations like that for a note taker. And it's that I like about it, the way it's linking now between the reading app and the calendar app and the notes app. They're all linked together. So it tells me what I've been reading, which notebook I've been accessing. It shows me where I've got different memos. I think you can add full events as well. It's a good integration. If I wasn't so integrated with Microsoft Office for work and my Google account, my Google Calendar for my personal stuff, then I'd be tempted to move just about everything over to Boox and use this system as my one system for my planning and organization. But more on planning and organization in an individual video comparing these 4 tablets on that. And the other thing is I'm committed to actually trying out all these things so I can review them for you. So there's that. I can't really commit to using just one. So I necessarily have to swap around to give you my thoughts about all of them. So in conclusion, well, let's talk cost and benefit first of all. Firstly, let me say no e-ink tablet is cheap, unfortunately. The Kindle is probably just edging out the Remarkable in terms of the cheapest. You can buy an entry level for about 300 quid with a pen. Remarkable will cost you 300 quid, but then you'll need to source a pen elsewhere, but you could of course go for some third-party accessories that work just fine. That's what I've done. The Supernote and Boox aren't going to be cheap. The Tab Ultra is the most expensive at the A5, and of course to go up to the massive A4 Boox, then you're going to be spending about 900 quid. That's about 3 times what you can get started with the Kindle for. You can, however, go for an A6 device, which is cheaper. So if you knew you wanted a Boox tablet or you wanted a full Android tablet, I do recommend this is the best way to get started with e-ink. An A6, the Nova Air Boox tablet would be an excellent way to go. You get a pen bundled in there as well. But again, that's probably a little bit more even expensive than the Kindle is. If you know you want the Supernote, and the Supernote is perhaps the most expensive of the bunch, then you can get the smaller version as well, but it's still not cheap. And I would say that the prices of them do actually match their functionality and their benefits as well. So this has the fewest benefits really through to the most at this end. And yes, going right up to an A4 size device is expensive, but man, it is a fantastic benefit to use e-ink at this size. I'm really enjoying, I've been using this as my script for this whole time, and I'm really enjoying the way it looks here. So cost and benefit, the costs do actually reflect the benefit. There isn't really a sweet spot in terms of cost or benefit. If you are getting started, then I suggest maybe looking at Kindle or Remarkable and seeing how you go with that, or maybe going for the A6 Boox device. If you really don't want to spend the earth, do this, get an A6 Boox device, and you'll probably think to yourself, wow, that's great. Really want a bigger one. And the second aspect to this conclusion, what about the impact versus ease? And that's tough, but how are you going to make this decision? Well, the best all-round note taker is the Boox device. There is no doubt about that. But the experience that you want from an e-ink tablet might actually differ. And so there's a danger that you're going to buy the Boox and then the complexity of the Boox will actually put you off a little bit because it does more, but it's more complex. So you have to learn to use it. I don't mean to be disparaging, but my wife regularly tries to use her Supernote. She's got the A5X. She often comes to me saying, I've forgotten how to do that thing. And they're not very complex things, but because they're just not natural, they're just not intuitive as a way to do things at first, she's being put off. She has this kind of fear that she doesn't want to get it wrong. Or maybe she worries about making a note and then not being able to find it later. So even that might be a little bit complex for someone like her. So you have to be honest with yourself. If you're somebody who is going to be put off by the complexity of tech, then maybe stick to one of these two devices, which are so easy to use and are still going to make a difference in your life and get you away from using pen and paper and get you using digital note taking. So if you do want to make that note around simplicity, let me put them in that order. The Kindle is the easiest to use. The Remarkable is the second. It's super simple to use these two devices. The Supernote third. It can't do as much as the Boox, so it isn't as hard to learn as the Boox, and the Boox is the most complex and therefore the hardest to learn of the devices. However, let me say, if you are used to using Android, you will be at home on the Boox as well. The ease of use versus features is a way to make the decision between these tablets that I've talked about many times, and I stand by that as a good way to make the comparison. It's the right way to choose. So I hope that was helpful in you actually doing that. I'm not going to sum this up by saying which one wins. I do have comparisons of all of these devices, and there's also a way to use my comparison tables on the ewritable.com website. So I do suggest that you go ahead and check that out if you want to go into more detail and look back through my extensive library of comparisons and discussions about how these tablets work. Thanks so much for watching.